Okay, so if you weren't here last week, we talked about Facebook, we talked about Twitter, and you can watch that video if you want. You can find it at on my blog, chrispeoples.org, and you can check it out there. It's about 45 minutes. And so, so we talked about that last week. I gave you lots of handouts. I will talk or will not talk from those handouts. They're very much a resource for you. Most of what I'm saying, it's because I've simply read and read and read, and it's so ingrained into my brain that it has become a part of who I am. So let's talk about Instagram. We're going to talk about Instagram and Snapchat and smartphones and sexting and screenshots and lots of things that that are good and bad all at the same time. We'll see how far we can get. My plan is at some point, Colby Durham is going to talk about Android devices, if that is of interest to anyone. And I also asked him to talk about some of the parental controls that Verizon offers that no parent knows exists, but they exist. And so there we go. So let's roll. So Instagram, I'm going to share a couple things about Instagram. A couple quick facts. One, I have no clue how Instagram monitors this because I looked at my profile and my birthday is not on my profile at all, but they say that the minimum age to use Instagram is 13. I have no clue how they monitor it, but that's what they say. So there you go. So a couple things. Unlike Facebook, we talked last week that every follower has access to every post unless you change your settings to private. And you can do that. I'll show you that in a minute. I did a screenshot, so I'll show you that in a minute. Like Twitter, people follow you. They're your fans. You don't have to approve them. They just follow you. And they see everything that you post. So hashtags, we talked about hashtags a little bit last week. Hashtags allow photos to be seen by any person. For example, I was at Dare to Share with a bunch of high school students in April. And we could put a hashtag Dare to Share, and anyone could search Dare to Share and see all the pictures that we were putting up, whether or not they were our followers or not. So there is a layer of vulnerability that happens when we start putting pictures online. They're great. My family loves to see everything that we're doing. If I hashtag something, the world can see it as well. One thing that you need to know, parents, because you probably don't know this, and I've called some teenagers out on it. None of them are in this room. And I almost put a couple pictures up because I found this again on Friday night on Instagram. There's this game teenagers like to play. It's called TBH. And it's simply to be honest. So you give the person that declares the game something, and they give you a true fact about them. So here's how they do it on Instagram. This is a girl that goes to our church, did this on Friday night on her Instagram. And just put a picture of TBH, leave numbers. I got 20 new cell phone numbers Friday night, simply by looking at this girl's Instagram. And Sandy Moyers, are you kidding me, really? Because that's the look that you just gave me. Why would you put your cell phone number on social media? I have no clue, but teenagers do it all the time. And it exposes their cell phone number to the world. So let me give you how drastic that really can be. There is a student at the middle school this year who had to switch his cell phone number twice. This person does not go to our church. This person had to switch their cell phone number twice because somebody got it and they were giving it to pornography industries. And so this middle school student was getting pornographic phone calls to his cell phone because I'm guessing, I'm speculating that he put his cell number on the internet somewhere and somebody got it. So it's pretty important that parents, grandparents, that you have the conversation with your child or your grandchild. Don't be stupid. Don't put your cell number on the internet for the world to see. So there you go. Let's talk a little. Let's move on. So quick facts again. Everything is posted on Instagram is public by default, which is, again, my family loves to see. Hey, we're having a great time at the beach. I'm loving this conference that I'm at in Atlanta. We're doing this, but the world knows that I'm not at home. Now, the beach is great. Oh, you're 5 hours away from home and your house is unattended. Let's go see what kind of fun stuff you might have for me to take. So it's just important. Every picture, every comment about where you are and what you're doing is public information as soon as you hit share. It just is. And that is a word for us as adults as much as that is a word for teenagers. Because when we're in the moment, oh, that's a really cool picture. We're eating spaghetti without any hands at camp. That's a really cool picture. I just told everyone that knows me that we're not at home and we're 8 hours away from home. So it's important. So here's a screenshot of mine. You might not be able to see this. Maybe you can. So this says you only can do Instagram on a smartphone or mobile device, tablet, Kindle Fire, anything that has a camera on it. So you'll see, this is my profile. It has my username, it has my blog where people go. I don't give any information on a bio at all because if people want to know what I'm up to, they can ask. And then you go all the way down to the bottom and you will see my posts are private. That means this. Nobody can become my fan unless, nobody can follow me unless I approve them to follow me. I have people right now that are sitting in my little notification section that want to follow me and I have not approved them because I don't know who they are. And so they just don't get to follow me. They don't get that privilege. So you have a handout that says 10 things every parent should know about Instagram. Just some fun facts. Okay, let's go to Snapchat next. Who in this room is familiar with Snapchat? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. Okay. Of those 6 people, how many of you feel like you really know what Snapchat's about? 1, 2. All right, 2.5, maybe. I'm about to blow your mind away. All right, this is you guys that know me know that I am statistics and data crazy. It's like give me a book of data and it's like around, and I'm just gonna eat it up and eat it up and eat it up and probably get sick because I love data so much. So you have a handout that has all of these Snapchat statistics on it. It's on the screen. It looks a little stretched on the screen because it is. And so I'm just going to read some of this stuff to you, and it's in front of you. So it says this: Snapchat is. I'm going to read you what it says, and I'm going to tell you what it really is and why teenagers use it. Okay, Snapchat is a photo sharing application where users can send photos to friends, acquaintances, or even perfect strangers. The user can choose how many seconds the photo will be visible until it self-destructs. They think it self-destructs. It sits on a server somewhere. Anytime you put a picture on the internet, it's on a server somewhere. And so Snapchat was actually in January. The news really kept this quiet. I don't know why. Bridget thinks I need to call an Indianapolis TV station and tell them this. Snapchat had a security breach in January of this year, and tons of pictures were taken. tons of self-destructible pictures were taken. Okay, so there you go. They're on a server somewhere. A few little more interesting details. 30 million, Snapchat is used 30 million times every day. I can't even imagine 30 million times and how many people use it to get to 30 million times. It's the 4th most popular app on the iTunes Store. You have to have a mobile device to use it. You can't use it on a computer. What it does. On Thanksgiving, 1,000 photos are sent using Snapchat every second on Thanksgiving Day, which is crazy. Okay, so here's what Snapchat is in my research and my experience. Snapchat is a device. It's an app that mostly teenagers use. I've seen adults use it. I don't use it. I can't give you any experience of using it, simply because some of my boundaries in life are, if I have a conversation with somebody, especially if it involves pictures, that it is permanent. And I have to be able to go back and see what I actually said to a person, especially in the world of youth ministry. So I don't use Snapchat. I won't use Snapchat. I'm probably dumb because I don't use Snapchat in a professional sense. But as part of my boundaries of life, I don't use Snapchat. Okay, so everything that I'm telling you is simply out of research. I have not had a conversation with a teenager, not even my son, who uses Snapchat. It is marketed as an app that is used primarily as sexting. Is sexting a new term for anybody in this room? Everyone knows what it is. Okay. So it is an app that, because the picture says it self-destructs in 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, whatever, that somebody can take a selfie of themselves, inappropriately dressed, and send it to another person that they want to see their body, and it self-destructs. That it's marketed as a great app to use that. Now, if I am a really, if I'm a 15-year-old boy, if I'm a 14-year-old boy, there is a 15-year-old boy in the room, so if I'm a 14-year-old boy, and a girl Snapchats me their picture, I can take a screenshot of that picture, and I can save it to my camera roll. And I can use an app like the Truth app, which just came out 8 weeks ago. I'll tell you about that in a minute. I can use this app, and I can send it anonymously to every contact in my phone. So I told you last week that my family shares Apple IDs. It's part of our security to make sure we know what's going on with our kids' devices. I have 987 contacts in my Apple Cloud account. Most of you are in those contacts. I am a cell phone thief. If you ever call me with your cell phone, that number is saved. It goes in my contacts, and it's there. Because I never know when I need a cell phone number. So if, let's just say that a girl, girls tend to flock my son. With good reason, he's a good kid. And so girls tend to flock my son. If a girl decided to Snapchat Jonathan an inappropriate picture, and he used a Truth app to send that to all of his contacts that are in his iPod, every one of you, most of you, will get a picture of an inappropriately dressed 14 or 15-year-old girl. I was just talking about you. Perfect timing. See you soon. So yes, Snapchat can be a good thing. It's a great thing. It's a great thing for a camp, and someone's on the other side of camp. We can send a quick picture, and it can be a good thing. People like sending pictures of what's going on in the moment. And it's supposed to self-destruct. It doesn't take doesn't take memory space. It doesn't. There are a lot of good things about it. Don't write it off. There are lots of bad things about it. Lots of bad things about it. So it's not as bad as some other social media accounts that we'll talk about if and when we have time. The point of me giving you all of this information is that you need to have a conversation with your child, your grandchild. It is super important that you know that they know that you know what they're doing. So a couple more statistics that I've read, then we'll move on. This, I think, is in here. Yeah, if you flip to page 1, this is a news report out of New York, written by Pediatrics Journal, that says 20% of 7th graders have admitted to sexting. Now, what sexting is, it could be a picture, it could just be a vulgar conversation. But it relates to one thing. If you should be able to, you're smart people, you should know what that one thing is. So 20% of 7th graders. I read another statistic that said 28% of teenagers have participated in sexting in the last 30 days. 28%. Okay, so without being really harsh, that's your kids and that's my kids. 28%. That's less than 1 out of every 4 has participated in sexting in the last 30 days. Let's call a spade a spade. Our kids are doing this. Maybe not our kids represented in this room, but certainly our kids that call First Baptist Church their home. So it's an important conversation to have. Another statistic that I read just completely left my brain. So we'll move on.
Chris, can I
yes. Yeah, go ahead.
As far as the self-destruct, especially on Android phones, there is a memory. I don't know exactly how much, but it does stay on their phone for a certain amount of time. So if they upgrade phones or change phones or anything like that, there is software. I mean, they've done news reports before where you get rid of a phone, make sure it's properly wiped because there's software out there to get stuff off of it. That same software can get those, it's deep into the phone's memory, but it's still there for a certain period of time. So it may self-destruct as far as the app is concerned, but it's still in the phone's memory. So, just FYI.
All right, any questions so far? Hi Gabe, good morning. Any questions so far about what I've talked about thus far? Okay, we're going to move on. And so my next picture here is Vine. Anyone ever hear of Vine? A couple people. What this is a short video segment on social media. You send videos. It is attached to Twitter. That's it. I don't use it. I don't know anything about it. I couldn't find a lot of information about it, but it's there, and people are using it. Once Instagram started doing video, less people use Vine because they're already on Instagram, so why have another social media? So that's that. Flickr, I use this a little bit to store pictures, not a whole lot, but what this is a picture sharing site. So I can, in a couple weeks when I'm at camp, I can take a bunch of pictures, put them on Flickr, send you the link, you can see all the pictures. But again, you can send, people can find your stuff. I mean, let's be real. Some of this is, we think that social media is private, but people can see our stuff. And if if our kids happen to have a Flickr that they're using to expose themselves for other people's benefits, we need to know that that can be used for that as well. I mean, a picture site is a picture site. So here's Foursquare. I don't use Foursquare. I personally think it's dumb. Why in the world would I check in every time I go somewhere? So, you know, I have 4 kids that hound me anyway if I go to Starbucks without them. Why would I post it that I'm somewhere where my family wants to be and I can't be there? But again, so how Foursquare labels it, Foursquare is it's a check-in, you earn points. I don't get the point of it, it's just kind of silly in my brain. But I see pastors in our town use this all the time. Like, hey, I'm at Costco getting gas. Great. Thank you very much to tell me that you paid for a membership to get gas 40 cents cheaper than what it is in Newcastle. I'm glad that you're saving money. I have a friend in Traverse City, Michigan, who, like, if he goes to the bathroom, he checks in on Foursquare. I mean, seriously. It's not that dramatic, but you get the point. And so it's social media that continually tells someone where you are at the moment, and you gain points for it. But the big deal of it is you're telling people where you are. Like, if I'm at the airport, you don't need to know I'm at the airport. I'll tell you, you need to know at the airport if you live in my house or you have DNA connection to me in case I crash. And that's really the only people that need to know I'm at the airport, unless you're picking me up at the airport. That's it. Why am I, so I could go a long time, okay? So here's Pinterest. I don't know many teenagers that use Pinterest, but I do know some, if they're really into creative things and they need new ideas, and there are some teenagers that come and ask me, hey, Bridget loves photography, and I would like her to do my senior pictures, but I have no clue, can she give me some ideas? And I say, go search senior pictures on Pinterest, and just go see what's going on. I love Pinterest and hate Pinterest all at the same time, because Bridget will go through Pinterest and we're like, oh, you need to do that in our house. And it's a great site for creativity. What also it's great is that you can be on a family vacation, and everyone has their little devices. I mean, we travel so much. We've hit the stage of life where we no longer take like diaper bags and car seats and that stuff. Bless your heart if you're at that stage. We're so glad to be done with that stage. But now we travel and we have 6 devices plugged in, and we have like extension cords that are running through the vehicles, and we have adapters and the whole thing. So everyone has their device, and we go on vacation somewhere and they're all taking pictures. And instead, the great thing about Pinterest is we can have one wall that says our family vacation 2014, and we can come home and I can put my pictures. That I'm the world's worst picture taker, by the way, which is why my wife has a really expensive camera. But so I can make this, and I can put our family vacation 2014. I can upload my pictures to the site. Jonathan can take his pictures that he takes on his iPod, upload them to this wall. Bridget can take the 1,000 pictures that she took on vacation and put the good ones on this wall. And now our family and our friends can see all the pictures that we took on our family vacation, because you can keep adding to the wall. That's the great thing about Pinterest. So that anyone that is a fan of my Pinterest or Bridget's Pinterest can see this. And then there aren't many security features, but it's great because you can share a wall. If I go to camp, which I'm going in 2 weeks, we're taking a bunch of people, I can take pictures, Jody and David can take pictures, Bridget can take pictures, we can all make this wall, Lake Camp 2014, and everyone can see all the different things that are going on at camp. So Pinterest is a good thing. It's great for creativity. Again, be a little careful if you can find bad things with every social media. I love Pinterest because it's creativity and it's shared and it's a group effort and there are lots of good things about it. You will not hear many guys say, I love Pinterest. But it's a cool thing. So I'll just keep moving down. I have two left, then we're going to talk about smartphones because we're going to have time. Google Plus. I heard a guy, I went to a social media forum when I was in Atlanta at the Orange Conference, and he said these words, and I could just repeat it because it fits in my life too. I don't understand the point of Google Plus. I have one. Google does a great job if you have Gmail, it automatically links to it. I never use it. I don't get the circle thing. I don't understand it. But if you know, if your kids are attached to Gmail at all, which is a great feature, you get storage, you get cloud storage, you get lots of things with having a Gmail account. They might be on this. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't even know why it exists. And I just said that on camera, and I'm going to put it on my blog, and someone's going to hate me for it. I apologize if you're watching this. But I don't get it. So I can't give you any information about it, but it exists. So you need to know it exists. So the last two things that I'm going to cover before we talk about smartphones are two things. One is called, I believe you have handouts about this. Yeah, your handouts are actually in the opposite order of just how these last two things, seriously, the only way that I can describe them is poison. Tumblr and Ask.fm, these are the last two things that we're going to cover. And so you have this great little handout from YouKnow.Kids.com, a resource I gave you last week, and it's not restricted, it's completely public, there's no age minimum, people can just comment, there are no spam settings. You can have a conversation with Joe Smith that lives in Iraq and reads the Quran every day, and he can influence whatever is written in that Tumblr account, and there is zero that I found. Zero filters to protect that. And it is, and kids are on it all the time. And it's just not, and what I've seen from it, it's not a good thing. So, I gave you 6 things parents should know about Tumblr, and you can read that. The page behind is 4 things you need to know about Foursquare and keeping your kids safe. So Ask.fm, let's hit that. Okay, so again, I said poison, cancer, should be amputated from your child's life. I cannot express, I can't do justice on how bad Ask.fm is, and teenagers are on it all the time. If you scroll through scroll through Instagram, they will put their Ask.fm user because they want people to go there, because my suspicion is that no adult in this room uses it. Anyone ever hear of it before? Okay, so the 2 nerds in the room, technology nerds in the room have heard of it. Technology nerd. Christy's not quite a technology nerd, but she has a grasp on social media better than most parents do, so I applaud her. And David is just a nerd. He and I are mutual nerds, and that's okay. So here's what Ask.fm is. It is Ask. So you can ask any question that you want. Hey, good morning, come on in. You can ask any question that you want, regardless of content. And you're going to get an answer from anybody that chooses to give input to that conversation. So let's just use, I'll use the big topic right now in our family around the dining room table is disproving evolution. Okay, so Jonathan has some of my DNA in his life. He likes to stir the pot. And I'll ask questions simply because I want to get reactions from people. So just know that about me. If I ever ask questions, it's because I'm trying to get you to respond. So Jonathan likes to do this, and so he'll just ask questions like one question he asked me was, Dad, why is it easier to disprove evolution than it is to prove God without using the Bible? These are the types of questions that we have in our house. So dining room conversation. Well, so he could go on Ask FM and just put a question like, what do you think about evolution? Because he wants to get the information, he wants to stir the pot. And then anyone could come and give that input. Like evolution, God used evolution with part of creation. God used, God ordained evolution because God ordained everything in life. And people could put whatever. People could put evolution is a hoax. You shouldn't listen to it. So you can get every bit of the whole spectrum, from way right to way left and everything in between on Ask FM. And then our children have to decipher what is the truth and what is not. And they're not going to ask you about it because they don't want you to know that they're on Ask FM. Because you don't even know it exists. Why are they going to talk to you about something they're doing when you don't even know it exists? And then, so they're having this conversation with this Buddhist in whatever Joe Smith country, and they have this constant dialogue. And at some point, they're going to get swamped, and they may have to fill you in, but it's a good chance that they're just going to ask one of their friends. Another question that they might ask is something about how far is too far. I get this question from teenagers all the time. So now they're getting relational boundaries in dating from their friends, and they're going to get input from that 50-year-old the 50-year-old guy that pretends he's 13 on the internet, and now he's going to talk to you like he's 13. He's going to give you all this information that does not reflect the values of your family, and certainly doesn't reflect the values of Scripture, and you might get that. So it is. Please do. So you have this handout. Ask FM what it is and what parents need to know. And you will see by the picture, this is written by someone who is not that old. And the first line says, Ask FM is a toxic site. Toxic means poisonous, virulent, noxious, deadly, dangerous, harmful, injurious. I don't know how to say that other word, sorry. Pernicious. And so the point of this, guys, is to have a conversation with your child or grandchild, because it is really easy to get in trouble in a hurry about this. We're gonna talk smartphones here in a second. Any questions so far about stuff that I gave you?
I kind of want to add on to something on the Instagram that I learned this past year, and that is that teens communicate with each other by commenting on old photos, so that you're not going to see that comment. So if you are trying to kind of help your teen to help them be accountable with their social media, you have to be on their notification. You have to once in a while. For us, it's now probably about once a month, because we aren't having any big issues right now. But it's, and just go through those notifications just to see what people are saying, or go through their old photos and just see what new comments are popping up. I was showing someone an old photo and I was just seeing all these comments. I'm like, wow, this is how they're communicating, middle school students especially.
Yeah. So another thing about Instagram that just popped into my head, a parent said to me a week and a half ago, the thing that they don't like about Instagram is that they can see everything their kid posts, but they can't see what their kids are seeing. So, so that, Christy, that's great. We don't do that in our house. We read text messages, and Jonathan knows we read his text messages, and we have this philosophy in our house that you're under 18, you're not an adult, you live in our house, there's no privacy. It's just the way it is. So that creates some interesting conversations at times, but doesn't parenting create interesting conversations anyway? So, okay, so two things that I want to go over. These are not on, this is not on the screen anywhere. This is stuff that, because I think that, no, I read this, YouKnowKids.com, a resource that I told you last week. I get this blog every Friday that will give you, that it gives me new information. And so I started reading this over the last month. And then I need to look up one website. Someone asked how to get to the Facebook Family Safety Center from last week, so I need to look that up real quick and I'll tell you how to get there. But there are a couple things that I need to share with you. One is there are apps for iPhones and Androids that are called hiding apps. And if you've never heard of what a hiding app is, it's this. Some can look like a calculator, some can look like a screensaver, and it's simply so our kids are doing things that they might not be able to do, and they can quickly hit this button, and it looks like they're not doing anything on their device. Thus, it's called hiding. And so it's really useful if you're trying to get away with something. If it's really useful if you're trying to hide something, if kids are trying to hide something from their parents. It's really useful if you're using a smartphone at school and your teacher just accused you of texting and, no, this is my calculator. And you're sitting in math class. The educators in the room can tell you all about that, I'm sure. So, those are out there. Okay, the other thing that I don't know a whole lot about this, I'm just learning about it. I referred to the Truth app earlier. The Truth app is only like 8 weeks old. And I found it on YouKnowKids.com. And there are apps designed to send things to other people anonymously. And they work solely on the number of people. So it sends things to people that are already in your contacts anonymously. So you can use it if you're trying to do some character assassination, which I know never happens with our teenagers. But if you're trying to do some character assassination, you can do it real easy with one of these apps, and all of these apps are free. And it's so easy to get to, and they certainly do not reflect biblical values at all. And I know that we as parents in this building care about the biblical values that our kids are getting and holding on to and grasping. So, if we were at the library right now and I was doing this, I probably couldn't refer to biblical values, but there's still values that we want our kids to have that are found in the Bible, even if we don't open the Bible. So, values are important. We need to keep that. So let's talk about cell phones for a little bit. So, Colby, if you want to grab a chair, there's a silver chair in the back that you can grab and come on up, and we'll have a seat. So Colby is the Android expert today. I know nothing about Android devices because our family doesn't use them. They're actually banned from our house. And here's why. I explained it last week why why that is. It's not because I don't like Android devices. It's simply because part of the security of our family is everyone shares my Apple ID, even Bridget. Because there's accountability to what's being downloaded, and we know where activity is, and the whole thing. So, I was actually at the Orange Conference in Atlanta, and a guy said to me, hey, do you want to sign up to win a Kindle Fire? And I said, no, I can't bring that into my house. And Jody and David laughed at me, because they knew what my response was going to be. Not for this reason, though. They just know that I'm a Mac, I'm an Apple guy, so there you go. So let's talk about smartphones a little bit. I'm gonna, so here's my iPhone. Here's my iPad. It happens to be my remote control right now, so I'm not gonna do a whole lot with that. But here's my iPhone. So, how many of your families use Apple devices? Okay. How many of you feel like you have a good hold of the different settings? And you think that you know how to keep your kids safe on this device? Kind of, sort of. Okay. How many of you know that there's a built-in web filter on this device? Okay, so I'm going to tell you that iOS 7, so if you have an old device, like Jonathan has an iPod, a 4th generation, do you have iOS 7? No, so he has iOS 6, the latest one. His iPod does not have this. So this was a new feature that came out with iOS 7, will be in iOS 8. It is a web filter. So you can set what your kids want, what content you want your kids to see while they're surfing the internet on their mobile devices. So I'll tell you how to get it. I have to find it because I never can find it when I really want it. So while I'm finding it, I'll let Colby talk about Android devices and I'll come back to this.
Okay, so a couple things real quick. 3 things I wanted to kind of hit on. The Google Plus is their version of Facebook, so that's really what Google Plus is. But the problem is when you set that up, a lot of the features, especially on an Android phone, is automatic backup of your photos. So when you take a picture, it automatically loads to your Google Plus profile, and any of your friends can see those pictures. So if you take that picture and auto backup is set up, you could get burned, or you know, other people could get burned. I mean, I worked at Verizon for 6 years, and you know, I have had customers come in saying, "Look, everything is out there for everyone to see," and they didn't realize that auto backup was set up with Google Plus. It's like their version of the cloud, and you can set it to private, or you can tell it not to back up, but its default is auto backup and it's public. So that's one thing. But with Android, there's not really any kind of filters or anything like that. You can download other apps. The trick is, though, you want to get an app that is not only a web filter, but also an app filter. Because if I put a web filter on here, I could download another browser, and I know I'm not 100% sure with the new version of iOS, but I could download another browser like Dolphin or one of these other ones that are out there, and it wouldn't work on those apps because it's a third-party app, it's a third-party browser. So, there's a couple different apps out there that allow those filters. One that we used a lot at Verizon it was called InQ Mobile, and they have a couple different things, but the one that we used was the parental controls, and it's $35 for the year, but it has everything. It's an antivirus, you can put a lock on there so they can only download apps when they put in your password. You set up your own profile, and you can access all the information on a website with your login information, and you can keep track of every website viewed, every text message sent and received is sent onto your profile, so you can even keep track of that kind of stuff. It's 100% parental control, as far as that's concerned. And it locks.
Read those text messages?
You can read the text messages, everything. You set up the parental lock, you set up the profile, username, password, all that stuff, and it locks the apps. Like, they can only download the apps from the Play Store that, if they type in your password, they can only delete those apps if they type in the password, different things like that. So it gives you a little bit more control. The big thing was text messages, and also if you, I mean, most companies now don't have unlimited data. You can set data caps. So after it hits, like, let's say 1 gig, they're only allowed 1 gig of data a month. Once it hits 1 gig, it will only use apps if they're connected to Wi-Fi or non-data apps.
So this is an app that is not it's a third party.
It's a third-party app,
service.
but Moorhead Communications, the company that I work for, was a Verizon retailer. We partnered with them, we sold it, and now it's complete. Like I said, it's $35 a year per device, but I mean, you know, it's really worth it. I mean, we had a lot of people that used it. InQ Mobile, in as in Nancy, Q as in Queen, mobile. But I mean, they have a bunch of different ones. There's antiviruses, parental controls, there's everything. But parental controls is pretty much the whole suite in one. Verizon does offer usage controls. It's like $5 a month, and you can keep track of a lot of that kind of stuff too. But it doesn't give you like the text messages and things like that. So, and it can't really prevent too much as far as the apps downloaded. So, the parental controls is more or less for Verizon services and some of the content filtering on the web.
So it's actually cheaper to use the other one.
Correct. Yeah. Yep.
And it does a better job.
And yeah, I mean, it does a better job. I mean, you know, we use a lot of it. We always use a lot of it because I mean, it's crazy how young kids were getting when they were coming in and getting cell phones, smartphones. I mean, I sold an iPhone to a parent that was giving it to their 5-year-old. So, I mean, it was a situation where mom and dad were separated. They wanted to be able to stay in communication, but still, do you really need an iPhone at 5? No. But so that's the thing is, that, you know, there's a lot of kids and stuff out there that have phones, smartphones, that don't really need them, and they have access to everything. So.
What was the name of that app, that service that you were just talking about, the $35 a month?
It's InQ Mobile.
InQ Mobile.
Mm-hmm. Like they have a suite, but the one that I was talking about that's $35 a month is the parental control one. I think it's called Parent. It's Guardian, Parental Guardian, or something like that.
I need to check that out myself.
Like I said, I mean, this way it also beats, you know, if they delete their text messages or something like that, it doesn't matter. There's a record on your login profile. And I mean, if you don't want to keep track of the text messages, you don't have to. You set up what you want to control.
Now, regarding that, okay, so if our high school boys have an iPhone, it doesn't record iMessages because I know that it doesn't. My text message count doesn't count what I send as an iMessage per month with Sprint.
No, iMessages are considered a mobile message, not a text message.
Right.
A media message, so to speak. So I mean, it's still recorded though.
Okay.
It's just it's counted as data and not text, so to speak.
Okay. Any questions about that stuff? That's good information. Every teenager in the room is like, no, that is not good information. Any questions, guys, at all for Colby? If you have specific questions, when we're finished with this thing, it's 10:03, so we're going to wrap up. But if you have Android-specific questions, please talk to Colby. It's been 3 years since I've used an Android, and I just don't know. So I can try, but I would have to Google it, and you can probably Google it just as well as I can. So there you go. But the web filter on iOS, and then we probably need to stop for the day. If you go into settings and you hit general, and there's this little button called restrictions that every child in my house hates. Because the password that I put on their restrictions is nothing, it's not associated with anything in our family. They could try to guess all day long, and they do, and they will never be able to figure it out because it has nothing to do with our family. And so, if you go in and you enable restrictions, I mean, there are lots of things that you can do, but you can go all the way down. They do a good job at hiding this. See, now I can't find it again. That's how good of a job they do at hiding it. It's in here that you'll find the restrictions, and it's sitting in front of my face and I can't even see it. So if you go down to the allowed content section, there's a spot that says websites. And mine is currently set to all, but if you enable restrictions, you can tell it what to give access to. And lastly, and this is good if you have iPhones, this is good if you have iOS 7. We block stuff on our router in our house because there are things that we just don't want our kids to be able onto, and it's easier for us to set it on the router than to mess around with individual devices. If they had iPhones, we would do this, but they don't yet, so that we don't. So there are lots of third-party apps that you can get for security in your family. There's some good things. I'm going to find that one website, and then we're going to be done. Okay. Do you guys have questions? Nobody has questions?
And I just looked it up. It's called NQ Family Guardian from the NQ Mobile Security. But it also has where they can do check-ins, like hit a button and it sends you an alert where they're located, or you can find where they're located. And then also like a panic alarm, so if they're in trouble, they can just hit a button and it sends you a notice, and it also automatically gives you an alert with their exact location.
That's the kill find for the day. Yes, Kim?
This is all dealing with smartphones, but what are there softwares out there for those who don't use the smartphones, but the computer is an access?
Yeah. So yes, I'll answer that question. The website, I have to do this before so my brain can transition. The Facebook Family Safety Center that I talked about last week is facebook.com/safety, and you can go there and find it. All right, so Kim, are you web filtering on your home computer? Is that what you're after?
Yes, we use a web filter currently, but I'm not 100% content with it.
Okay.
So just what is there? I mean, my little guy's still a little young.
Yeah.
But that to put in safety protocols, like you can text off a computer with another phone,
Right.
and bypass the web filter doing that.
So here is one on my Mac. There's nothing. I don't have anything set on my Mac at all. But my kids know that I can look at whatever they're doing on my Mac with my iPad or my phone, which is part of why we do Apple devices. We have a couple things in our house. The first one, I referred to this last week. The first one is OpenDNS.org. It is a web filtering service that we use on our router, but you can use it on your personal computer as well. If you go to their website, they'll give you instructions on how to set it up for an individual computer. It's free. It is probably the best web filter that I've seen. It is on all the routers. It's on all the routers in the church building. We use it at our house, and I'm pretty certain that there's not a person in this building that could get on a malicious site without really knowing what they're doing. We don't have people that have that much time on their hands in this building. The other thing that we do, we have Jonathan and Joshua have computers in their bedroom, so we have parental control set on our router that we have to type in a password in order for them to have internet access in their bedrooms. They have network access, they don't have internet access. So those are a couple things that we do. you can look at, it's called Triple X Church, and they have a couple of different things, a couple of different options. They're pay options, which aren't bad. You generally get what you pay for. So pay options are good if you want to go that route. There are lots of good free options, a couple that I know of anyway. Does that answer? Does that help?
Also, if you're using Windows, you can set up a separate profile for just him, and you can set up as many different things, and you can limit what programs he has access to and all that stuff. So in addition to the parental controls for like on the router and that kind of stuff, you can also set up a profile that's just for him, and he can type in his password, and then he can get on there and he can have just his games and just his stuff on there. So then you can limit also what, and he can't download stuff without the administrator password. So that will also help from download as far as download aspect.
The longer I use Apple stuff, the less I know about Microsoft stuff. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. Are there any other questions? Shane?
How, I would like to make this talk where I could send a link to my parents.
Absolutely, chrispeoples.org.
Awesome.
It's up there. We did 45 minutes last week, and this is almost an hour.
I watched the one from last week, so I think that should be made available to Christian schools, other churches.
Yeah, share it away, that's why it's there. And if you don't want to give my web address, I can give you the YouTube link. It's on YouTube, if you'd rather do that. So, any other questions? Alright, I am certainly not a social media expert. Guys, I've heard a lot in order to come up with a little bit of information that I have. But if you have questions, if you run into difficulties, I'd be happy to at least assist in the conversation. Okay? So, the video is up. The video will be posted. Give it to as many people as you want. I'm good with it. Okay? That's why it's being recorded. And that's a wrap. It's 10:12, so have a good rest of the day.